Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. And welcome back to Solo RPG Friday. Today we are going to take a very quick look at kind of the expanded version of the outdoor encounter cards. So the Fantasy Trip outdoor encounter cards are a tool that I have covered before, and it is one of my favorite decks of cards. And as I have stated before, decks of cards are my favorite kind of board game or solo RPG content delivery mechanism, you could say. I love decks of cards, especially cards that have random encounters. Now, this deck of cards was created by Steve Jackson and Phil Reed, and it was specifically created or has rules specifically for Fantasy Trip. And so if you were using this amazing deck of cards in other games, you would kind of have to interpret a few of the mechanisms for whichever game you are playing. However, what Phil Reed has done now is he has put out 4 decks of outdoor encounter cards, and these are all available on DriveThruRPG in a print form, or you can buy the PDFs. But he has taken all of the cards and made them for more generic, more rules agnostic. So if you already have the Fantasy Trip deck of outdoor encounter cards and you buy the 4 decks of cards, you will get some duplicates that are duplicated in the Fantasy Trip deck. However, the text has been rewritten, both the rules text and the flavor text in some cases. The original Fantasy Trip deck was 53 cards. I think it was 52 cards and a rules card. Each of the decks that you can get on DriveThruRPG are 36 cards. I absolutely love these decks. I hope that Phil Reed continues to make more of these. I know Phil Reed is super prolific with his supplements and tools and all kinds of things. But these 4 decks of cards are awesome. So what I'm going to do most likely is just shuffle these all into one big deck. I'll have a huge deck of like over 120 different outdoor encounter cards that I can use for all kinds of fantasy role-playing games. Let's just take a quick look at some of them. One of the best things about these kinds of supplements is keeping things as a surprise. I want to keep some of these as a surprise, and I know that you will too. So we'll take a look at 5 cards from each deck before I shuffle them all in together. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we have a subset of the cards, and this is a little 20 card deck that we dealt out randomly from the large deck of cards there. And now, hey, maybe this is our continent. This is the outdoor area that we will be exploring. I've shown this kind of method before on a video, but I like to maybe put these out in some kind of order that represents maybe a little island or maybe just a little area that we are exploring. Maybe we've our boat or something. We've swam ashore here and we're trying to get to this location over here. Let's adjust the camera a little better so our card island fits on our table. And so we come up on the shore, and what do we find? We are greeted by a goblin warrior. Armed with shield and staff, the goblin warrior watches closely from the trees. The goblin warrior has been separated from his companions and is not looking for a fight. He waits in the forest for as the PCs make camp for the night and will try to escape. If given the opportunity, he will steal gear. All right, so that might prompt us to have some kind of adventure while we are sleeping, some kind of encounter. Let's head out in this direction. Here we come across a demonic offer. A demonic creature offers you and your friends treasures if you will infiltrate the nearby town and steal a magic sword of demon slaying from the town's champion. Will you accept the offer, or will you turn against the demon and attempt to stop it before it can harm the people of the town? Make your choice, heroes. That is a great prompt. That is a super cool prompt for an adventure, because that could lead us to a town that we could generate. That leads us to a magical sword that gives us possibly a protagonist or an antagonist, something that we can work with or work against. Very cool card there. I love that. What else might we discover on this little island here? A dungeon veteran. Beaten, bleeding, and weary, the fighter resting on the side of the road eyes you, gripping his axe as you approach. Maybe this dungeon veteran here, maybe he came across the demon and the demon attacked him. So he says, if you and your party show signs of friendship and take no aggressive action, the fighter introduces himself as Rel and tells you of a nearby dungeon. If you will help heal him and aid him in the adventure, he will share the treasure. All right, so now we know where there's a little dungeon that we can go and explore. And maybe from there, we turn to our deck of mini dungeons and we draw out a little 5-card little dungeon that we can have. I love decks of cards. Decks of cards are so much fun for generating random encounters and adventures. What do we have here? A skeletal scout. I think we've seen this guy before on the channel. You fought more than your share of skeletal foes in the past. Maybe maybe the demon is some kind of necromancer and he's causing these skeletons to rise, and maybe these skeletons have taken over the dungeon. This single skeleton, roughly 3 times as powerful as an average skeletal warrior, was once a ranger and somehow has kept some of his skills. Whatever you do not allow it to escape and rejoin its companions. All right, so he might run off and let a group of other skeletal warriors know of our presence. And maybe after we've discovered them, we are faced with an orc assault. You encounter an orc raiding party as it is advancing toward a nearby village. This village is under assault from all angles, isn't it? Demonic assault, skeletal assault, orc assault. If you and your friends can withstand 2d6 plus 4. So if you're playing solo, we of course would have to adjust the number, or maybe come up with a better way to avoid them, or tackle a large group. Sometimes facing off against a large group of enemies by not fighting them and doing something else might be more beneficial and more fun. All right, we come across a hanging hand. Night approaches, driving you and your companions to seek shelter and a suitable place to camp. You find a perfect clearing near the trail and are preparing to make camp when a grisly omen catches your eye. If you grab at the hand, a trap is activated and unleashes a swarm of captured spiders, each 2 feet across, that drop from cages hanging in the trees above. A thief or a woodsman who makes a successful skill or intelligence check may notice the trap before it is too late. Who set this fiendish trap? Yeah, is there a guy walking around without a hand? Did he set his own trap here? And maybe we come across the Shrine of Stars. A party comes across a small stone structure that is out of place in the woods. 2d6 others are there already, one by one, entering the building where they can be heard praying. All right, so some kind of cult, of course, we've stumbled across. Cults are always great. Maybe this is the dungeon that the dungeon veteran has warned us about. And finally, at the far end of the shore, we find the Ring of Stones. Perhaps this was our objective all along. Something has disrupted this place of arcane power, knocking several stones over and ending whatever magical effect once dominated this desolate space. Those with an understanding of stone circles will know that this was once the site of rituals. So maybe this is connected in some way to the Shrine of Stars, to this cult that worships the stars. And we need to figure out what the connection is between this Ring of Stones and the Shrine of Stars. So that is a really simple little, maybe a little mini campaign, a couple of adventures that we had on this island before moving on to a whole series of other adventures, which we might come across a fenced cemetery, a lonely skeleton, a terrifying wraith, a solitary skull, spell stones, a fellow adventurer, a fortress inn, a peasant hut, a planner wizard, a mutated crazy. This dude is ready to fight, and maybe we come across a vacant home. So all kinds of awesome cards in here with great art, really evocative writing, and a lot of prompts to trigger adventures. You could easily just use this deck of outdoor encounter cards and this deck of mini dungeons and have all kinds of unlimited fun and adventures in any kind of solo role-playing game. I would love to see... Okay, Phil Reed, here is an assignment for you. I want to see a deck of cards like this for urban adventures, for urban encounters. Then that's all we would ever need is one deck for outdoor encounters, one deck for dungeons, and one deck for urban adventures. If you guys know of any urban encounter cards that are like this with good art and good writing and good adventure prompts, please let me know. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick look at the outdoor encounter cards from Phil Reed. Again, these are available to purchase. I did purchase them. I was part of the Kickstarter that just raised some money to get these in order to upload to DriveThruRPG to make them available. And I did purchase all 4 decks. So, all right, you guys, I hope you have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.